A big storm cycle headed towards California. Heavy rain, snow, thunderstorms, and gusty winds. Plus, we've got our lunar eclipse. We'll be tracking the potential of being able to even see that total lunar eclipse this week. I'm ABC 10 Chief Meteorologist Monica Woods, and we do have that weather impact alert in place Wednesday into Thursday. The impacts being travel delays, chains, as well as some minor flooding possible. Needing to prepare for the heavy rain and snow and just winter-like conditions returning after a gorgeous weekend and the beginning of the week where we had temperatures in the 70s. You may have been putting out some of that patio furniture. Well, with this heavy rain on the way, it might be a good idea to just put away those outdoor items. Check for scheduled events. Are those going to be impacted? Plus, avoiding travel, especially for the higher elevations where we're expecting not only delays, but the potential for road closures, some low elevation snow. And just keep watching for those updates because we will be seeing a lot of changes coming our way over the next 7 days or so. We're going to keep these weather extended forecasts going on ABC 10 Plus. If you're watching us on YouTube, make sure that you download that free app on TV. We also have our weather explainers, weather and climate specials as well. Here's a look at the load that's going to bring us the active weather. We've seen some periods of showers in Southern California. That's from a weaker weather system, but the big one that's on the way is going to provide us with about an inch plus of valley rain. Sierra snow 2 to 4 feet with that snow level down to about 3,000 to 5,000 feet. And that's going to mean some load chain controls, the potential for thunderstorms as well as wind gusts over 40 miles per hour. You can see on Thursday, that's going to be the best likelihood of seeing more widespread thunderstorm activity in that frequent lightning, the potential for very gusty winds, and even some small hail. The colder air that's going to be helping to destabilize the atmosphere will also be the driver for moving that snow level down. We started off at about 6,000 feet Wednesday morning, but it does move down to about 3,000 feet by Thursday. And it continues not only for the morning hours, but lasting into the evening. And that's really when we see the bulk of that precipitation come through as well. If you're trying to kind of plan out that travel and you have to head up into the high country, if you have flexibility, Wednesday morning's going to be the time frame to do it, because by the afternoon and into early Thursday, you can see how our snow totals are starting to go up in places like Pollock Pines near 4,000 feet. Not quite down to Placerville, but again, we will see some minor accumulations between about Placerville and Pollock Pines along Highway 50, along I-80. Same time frame. We get some accumulation early in the day on Wednesday, but it's during the afternoon into early Thursday when we really start to see the most problematic parts of this system moving through, with again close to 4 feet of snow at King Vale, all the way down with accumulations to about Colfax with an inch or so. Winter storm warning that goes into effect tonight, and it will take us all the way through our Thursday night, extending throughout the Sierra Spine. And our wind advisory now has expanded throughout the entire valley. Earlier, it was just going to be in the northern and central part of the Sacramento Valley. Now we're extending that through much of the valley. Here's the reason why. Again, Wednesday morning's commute, it's going to be a showery one with occasional gusty winds, but the big winds start to come through during the day on Wednesday. You'll see how these really start to ramp up during the afternoon and early evening. We're talking some pockets upwards of 30 and 40 miles per hour. And the Sierra also dealing with those gusty winds. Some of those peaks will be dealing with wind gusts over 70 miles per hour. That'll be true as well along the passes, so near zero visibility at times. In terms of our rainfall, close to an inch of rain for the valley, about 2+ inches for the foothills. And our snow totals, as I mentioned, they're going to be upwards of 3 feet of snow. A lot of snow coming in even into our Thursday afternoon and evening. Just timing out kind of the first system that's coming through because we have more in the pipeline as well. Our Wednesday morning commute, it's a showery one. Snow will already have started up for the Sierra, and that extends all the way across 88 and 89. But the bulk of the heaviest rain comes through during the afternoon. We'll see a slight chance of thunderstorms. Most of that is going to ride along the coast, and we'll see, of course, the snow piling up for the Sierra. Bit of a break here Wednesday night, but only for the valley, because for the foothills and the Sierra, we're still looking at snow continuing as well as areas of rain. Thursday morning, again, spotty showers. It's becoming much more scattered, but that's also the point that we see the colder air coming in, bigger instability, chance of thunderstorms, and that lowering snow level. So there's still plenty of impacts to be found. Now, here's the catch. on the back edge of that, we actually have some modest clearing before our next weather maker comes in on Friday. So this could be optimal timing for our total lunar eclipse. That'll happen Thursday night into Friday morning. It begins at 11:26 and will end just after midnight there. The maximum eclipse is right about midnight, with sky conditions being mostly cloudy. Here's a look at how this is all going to unfold. The partial eclipse happens as we start to see the total eclipse. That's when we're seeing kind of that blood moon, as we like to call it, with the maximum eclipse happening at 11:58. Now, the total eclipse will end shortly after 12:30 in the morning. And then as we start to head into our Friday, we will lose that eclipse. But how does this all happen? Well, we talk about the shadowing. And as you can see, the sun's rays are hitting Earth. Here's Earth's orbit. The sun's rays in the Earth's atmosphere, it scatters the blue light. The moon's orbit I've got here shaded in purple. So only the red light is going to remain, and that's why we get that bloodish red color of the moon. We've got the penumbra partial eclipse happening on the outsides of that. So we'll put this moon into motion here. The key factor here, we have to have alignment of the sun to the Earth to the moon. And once that moon enters the umbra phase of that shadow, that's where we get that beautiful color. So again, we'll just bring it through the timeline here now that we kind of know the background of how that happens. Here's the partial eclipse beginning at 8:57 p.m. Again, that's Pacific time since we're out here in California. And then at 10 p.m., we'll see the partial eclipse beginning. So kind of that penumbral eclipse beginning, I should say, at 8:57, the partial beginning at just after 10 o'clock. And then, of course, we take it through the total eclipse from just before midnight until just after midnight, ending early Friday morning. And looks like our timeline for these weather systems coming through is really going to be optimal for the potential, at least, of seeing that total eclipse. We've got the showers in Southern California taking us through our Tuesday afternoon, and well-needed showers as well. We've been seeing drought grow into the extreme and exceptional categories here. In fact, exceptional category for the first time in about 2 years popping up there in the extreme southeastern corner of California. Statewide precipitation, we are nearing the end of our rainy season in California, and we still have some deficits from about the capital region through Southern California. These systems coming through are much needed because we're also at about the end of when we see our 50 to 60% of annual precipitation, and we start that peak snowmelt. Water will be at its highest demand in just about 2 months when we really start drawing on where we got a lot of that precipitation coming through. So again, we've seen some pretty significant Southern California fires due to drought growing in Southern California. So all of this will feed into how this plays out for the dry season. As far as our snow water equivalent, you can see how these numbers have stayed pretty steady here. Really good numbers, though, in terms of where we started off earlier this year. The central and southern part of this year was really dry, so we're at 81% of average to date for our statewide. Once that snow starts melting, it fills our reservoirs, which are really full right now. We're at about 60 to over 80% full. Shasta being the state's largest at 81% capacity, 109% of average to date. For the central part of the valley, New Melones, Don Pedro looking pretty good as well at about 75 to 80% full. San Luis, we have a little more flexibility with that just simply because that's an off-stream pumped reservoir. So they can take some of the Delta water and move that into San Luis and kind of hold it there until some of the agriculture starts to pick up. We're kind of in that dormant period for some of those crops. As far as our average monthly rainfall, I was mentioning that March really is kind of the last line before we drop off our annual precipitation. And this follows suit for pretty much all of California. Our weather timeline, we've got the weather impact alert Wednesday and Thursday. We talked about that lowering snow line, and then Friday, Saturday, a weaker system, but then more rain and snow possible on Sunday. As we look out to the Pacific, it's a very active Pacific right now with our 3 to 7 day weather hazards outlook featuring the potential for heavy snow as well as heavy precipitation. Now, the precipitation is going to be more nuisance type of flooding. We will see rivers come up, but not at flood stage. And then, of course, we talked about the high wind risk. That translates as well to our winter storm severity index, putting us in the major to extreme category right up and down the Sierra spine. As we take a look at that first low moving through, it clears out of here, kind of opens the door for this bigger storm to roll on through Wednesday into Thursday. We get that brief break in action for the total lunar eclipse throughout much of the state. A few spotty showers in there, so not all of us are going to see it. And then we're right back at it. Here we go. Friday into early Saturday, we get renewed rain and snow chances coming in. It's just that the totals look much lower than what we're going to be seeing midweek. A brief ridge of high pressure building in, kind of keeping that next storm off the coast for Saturday, but we're likely in a cooler category here for the next about 8 to 14 days. Likely wetter scenario starts to shift ever so slightly to our north, but you can see how our temperature contours, they really plummet here into our Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, even our weekend forecast. So it's going to be quite cold out there. Our future moisture coming through. We've got this plume of moisture into our Wednesday and Thursday forecast, kind of feeding us with that pipeline of moisture for the midweek forecast. As far as our Friday forecast, it does start to edge a little bit farther to the south, but then we'll watch that Sunday into Monday weather system. It's a little too early to tell the precise totals and timing from that particular system. Highs for tomorrow as we get going on our weather impact alert will only warm to about 40 for the Sierra, 40s and 50s down the hill, but the cold air will come in and that will start to bring that snow line down by the time we get to Wednesday evening through early Thursday. We're only in the 50s across the coast, and that after hitting highs close to 70 to kick off the work week. So it's quite a change in reality that for astronomical winter, we're still in it. 50s throughout much of the valley. We start the morning off in the 40s. We'll see the rain starting to get more intense as we head through the afternoon, and the rainfall totals will come up. So if you have an opportunity to just kind of check those storm drains, make sure you got the outdoor furniture back inside and just protect everything that might need protecting from some of the periods of heavy rain. And if we get hail too, any of those plants you may have put out for the spring-like weather that we've had. Our mountain forecast, we start to see the active weather picking up here as we head into our Wednesday. That continues Thursday. Lighter snow Friday into Saturday, but it will still be a bit more on the impact side just because Caltrans are, as far as the road conditions, they're going to have to continue to clean up those roads. Saturday should be a pretty good day for us. Sunday, more snow expected. For the foothills, we're also looking at kind of that mixed bag of precipitation. As you can see, Thursday morning, we're in the 30s with that chance of thunderstorms. We'll see more mixed precipitation on Friday. By Sunday, a little bit warmer, and so that'll bring that snow line back up. But again, that Sunday system, that's been kind of flopping all over the place with our weather models. For the coast, we're looking at areas of rain coming in for our Wednesday, and then we'll start to clear things out by Thursday. More rain expected Friday, a break on Saturday, and then we're right back at it for our Sunday forecast as well. We have the weather impact alert days in place Wednesday and Thursday, with Thursday being our best chance for widespread thunderstorm activity. And then for Friday, we are cool. Highs only in the mid-50s, I should say. We should be in the mid to upper 60s. So this is going to be quite cold for us here to wrap up the work and school week. Edging into the weekend, we're mostly dry for our Saturday. A spotty shower not completely out of the question here, but then by Sunday, we're right back at it, taking us through our St. Patrick's Day for some of the parades that are going on, as well as the celebrations. Next week's another interesting one. We still see a fairly good plume of moisture and feed from the Pacific on Thursday into Friday. So we'll be watching the tail end of that week to see how long that favorable storm track continues to be in Northern California. But for right now, weather impact alert days on Wednesday and Thursday with that chance of thunderstorms as well for that Thursday forecast. We're going to keep you going with this extended forecast and all the weather updates as well on ABC 10 Plus. Again, download it wherever you stream for free on TV. We are live, local, always on. We've also have our explainers and our climate specials.